We've talked about it many times before. There are certain keys to changing your brain for fat loss. And one thing it's good to look at, there's always the reason it won't work, right? Have you ever done that where you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do this, but it won't work because X, fill in the blank. I'd like to go on this new diet, but I just don't have the willpower. I'd like to get in a good workout, but I just don't have the time. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever is going on in your life, if you have the time to watch this video, I appreciate your time. But I should point out that that is time you have. You do have time. You do have focus. You have something going for you. So you don't lament the assets or benefits or life situation you don't have. You maximize the life situation, events, attributes, genetics, whatever you do have. And gradually the life situation will change, typically for the better. So for someone who is just tremendously overweight, say multiple hundreds of pounds of overweight, I do know a person, an old friend, who struggles with walking now because, knees are hurting because of the weight. And you can walk anyway, assuming you can manage. You might want to speak to a doctor if you're at that point, but you can walk anyway. That's one thing. But they also have these exercisers that sit under your desk. These little, it's like an elliptical pedal thing. So you just sit there, you watch, you work on your computer, you watch your show or do whatever you're doing, and you just pedal. And is it the best exercise in the world? Well, I haven't done it, but I'm guessing no. It's probably not the best exercise in the world. But it's something you can do, right? It's a piece, it's a step. And it's honoring those steps that eventually allows you to take bigger steps. You see, if you recognize that there's always something small you can do right now, you may legitimately not have time to go to a gym for an hour-long workout, particularly when you consider you're packing your stuff for the gym, getting to the gym, changing out, going and doing the workout, then changing back, and then, coming back home. Maybe there's a shower involved. The whole 9 yards. If you're going to try to do an hour workout, it can easily take an hour and a half full time, maybe closer to 2 hours. If you're cleaning up at the gym, you got to pack your stuff before you leave. You got to put your stuff away when you get back home. Yeah, that can be a lot. But do you need a gym? You really don't. I wouldn't recommend a gym until you're at a point where you think you can do more interesting things at a gym than you can at home. And if you're not willing to spend a few minutes walking every day, spend a few minutes, if you have a rebounder, use a rebounder. The little mini trampolines, they're awesome. I've got one. Love it. But if you don't have one, you can get a fairly cheap one, I think, for like $40. But if you don't have one, can't afford one, whatever it is, you can walk around your house. Yeah, if you live with people, they're going to think you're a crazy person, but what else you're going to do? Walk outside? You can walk outside. The weather's not particularly pleasant. Well, can you learn to walk in not particularly pleasant weather? The point is there is always something you can do. And it's fine to make it small. Make it as small and manageable as you need to make it. That's absolutely fine. That's preferable. But take a step. Take a step and then take the next step tomorrow. Do the same thing again tomorrow. It doesn't have to be something new and special and interesting. I mean, if you're paying attention, it's always new. But do the same 5-minute walk tomorrow you did today. Make it a habit. And then once you got this little momentum of 5-minute walks going, you can add a second 5-minute walk. Or you can up your walk to 7 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And you just take little steps, building yourself into the person who's getting more done, who's exercising more consistently, getting that blood flow going, helping with mental clarity, helping maintain your IQ as you get older. I may not have much, but I do want to keep whatever it is I've got. So you build these little steps. You take these little steps and you keep taking them. They don't have to be big. This doesn't have to be heroic in the Marvel Cinematic Universe sense. It's heroic in that you're accepting where you are and you are taking steps to move forward. And of course, as you do that, eventually, you'll be knocking on the door of things that do seem heroic to people. You can do this with diet, you can do it with exercise, you can do it with your business, you can do it with your job, you can do it with your relationships, you can do it anywhere in life. I permanently talk about changing your brain for fat loss. This is long-term thinking. This is one of the core elements of changing your brain for fat loss. And when you get this one thing, it takes such a load off. It's very unpleasant sometimes to begin with because you have to stop BSing yourself. When I was in my 20s, I tried to keep convincing myself I was some kind of superhero. I regret to admit I was not. But when I started getting comfortable with that, when I started accepting my limitations, when I started realizing that I couldn't just do everything I wanted to do, that it wasn't all just going to happen by magic, well, eventually I just started noticing there were little things I could do. And I do one or two of those little things. And as you start getting into the habit of just taking the little steps that are presented to you, there's usually things staring you right in the face in your life that you need to work on. You don't have to work on all of them at once, but pick one of them. Pick one of them that's staring you right in the face. Or if you need a break from that, pick a lot of little random things. Dishes need to be done, grass needs to be mowed, car needs to be washed. Just take little things that you can knock out and they'll be good for, a day, a few days, a week, whatever. And knock a few of those out. And once you get that, people think, well, I'll do this work and then I'll be tired. You can make yourself tired with little tasks, it's true. But you can also feel invigorated that you got a few things done, particularly if you're just paying attention while you're doing it. You're not sitting there going, mentally chattering to yourself about what else you'd like to do. Get into the task. If you need music to help you do that, use music. If you want to do a task while you try to watch or listen to, favorite series, podcast, whatever, do it that way. Do what you have to do to make it enjoyable, but get a few of those tasks done. And now you've either gotten to experience something new and interesting, or you've gotten to listen to something you enjoy listening to, and you've gotten a few things done. Now you can come back to one of those bigger things staring in your face with renewed energy, renewed vigor. And as you keep coming back to these things over time, you develop real momentum in your life. You develop a power to keep going. As I said before, at some point, these activities may start looking heroic to, your average everyday person out there. But the point isn't impressing people on the street with your heroics. The point is blowing yourself away with what you can accomplish in your life that is most meaningful to you. That's a powerful thing. That's long-term thinking. It's not just about today. It's not just about tomorrow. It's about coming back until you get where you're going. And then as you get where you're going, you keep finding new and interesting places to go. Long-term thinking. Again, it's the core of changing your brain for fat loss. I'm Ben Langley. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. We'll talk again soon.